All right, guys, so our favorite progressive politician, Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, was recently seen in Miami, dining and drinking martinis with her boo-boo, right? Maskless, by the way. Okay, in a state that people like her and her progressive colleagues and Democrats have characterized as the death state, because Ron DeSantis is running the state and his lack of mandates is endangering everybody. Now, AOC was criticized for being in Miami in the so-called death state, while her state, New York, and her city is going through a surge in the virus. Okay, and her rhetoric before in the past has indicated that, hey, you know what? It's not cool to be leaving your state when your state is going through an emergency, right? She told us that when she criticized Ted Cruz for leaving Texas during an ice storm. Okay. However, lo and behold, she's doing kind of the same thing, and in my opinion, even worse, by going to Miami, Florida, in the middle of a crisis in New York. And she got called out thoroughly for it. Called out thoroughly, okay? So much so to the point where she basically said that anybody that criticized her just secretly wants to have sex with her, right? That's basically what she said. And when dealing with this criticism, AOC never really addressed the actual substance of the criticism, which is the hypocrisy. Because quite honestly, guys, she really does not care. She doesn't care at all. AOC simply is a part of the elite, and the rules are not for the so-called elite. And she's showing us once again, as there is more footage, this time a video, of AOC partying maskless. Once again, this time at a drag queen party or show in Miami. Take a look. Guys, the hypocrisy and the elitism is right in your face. It's right in your face. Because you would think that after AOC got caught initially, that she would be on a one-way trip after she finished partying on New Year's, hungover, on a plane, back to New York City, right? At least Ted Cruz was smart enough when he got caught to be like, hey, you know what? The optics here don't really look that well. Let me go ahead and make a turnaround trip from Cancun back to Texas, right? Ted Cruz was smart enough and at the very least was aware enough to do that. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if AOC is aware enough or if she actually just really doesn't care about the optics, right? As she believes that it doesn't matter how much of a hypocrite she is. It doesn't matter that she criticized Ted Cruz for the exact same thing that she's doing. Doesn't matter. Her constituency is so dumb, right, that they're going to continue to vote for her no matter what. I think that that's what she actually believes. Because in a normal situation, a politician, especially with the notoriety of somebody like AOC, again, would have been on a one-way trip back to their state, right, their district. That's what they would have done. But AOC simply does not care. Because like I told you guys in my first video on this situation, AOC, when she got off the plane in Florida, she never had any intentions of putting that mask back on, right? She was going to enjoy her life. She wasn't going to social distance. She wasn't going to wear no mask. She wasn't going to take any precautions. She wasn't going to do any of that. She's still in Miami, which again, hey, I really don't have any problems with outside of the hypocrisy, right? I really don't. I want everybody to live their life, including the people in New York. But she doesn't want her constituency in New York to live their lives, right? She wants them to live under mandates while she vacations to places like Florida with no mandates, living her best life at drag queen parties. But again, it blows my mind that AOC literally is still in Miami, continuing to party, and doesn't even care about being caught on video doing it. Doesn't even care. She's like, whatever. Doesn't matter. My constituents are still going to vote for me no matter what. Even though I've clearly shown time and time again, I am not one of them. I am not a part of the working class. I am not for the working class. I am a part of the elite. I party with the rich. I get ovations in Miami. Okay? That's what she's shown. Again, I don't have any problems with her partying maskless and vacation in Miami outside of the hypocrisy. If she wasn't a hypocrite about it, I'd be like, hey, support the economy, right? I'm cool with it. But, hey, there's not really much I can really say anymore outside of just, hey, I mean, she's just a hypocrite and it is what it is. It just blows my mind that she didn't even feel the need to go back to New York after she got caught, right? She just stayed there and continued partying because she really doesn't give a damn. But speaking of politicians, right, and their constituents in New York City, we got to talk about Mayor Eric Adams real quick because he just got sworn in as mayor on New Year's. And apparently on his first day, right, on his first day, right after he was sworn in, this man had to call 911 to report an assault himself that was happening in his city streets. Take a look.
Yes, I'm at Broadway in Kosciuszko, and I have an assault in progress, 3 males. Yes. I'm sorry?
Yeah, so imagine. Crime is so bad. Crime is so bad in New York right now, right? The place that AOC is not at, right? And when you see videos like that, it kind of makes you not necessarily want to be as critical of AOC for leaving her ish whole city. But crime is so bad that the mayor on his first day in office, right? The so-called tough on crime mayor, Eric Adams, sees an assault on the street. Somebody getting down, whoop, right in front of his face. And he has to be the one to pick up the phone and call 911 to report this. Kind of crazy. I mean, if anything, it really shows you the dire state that New York City is in, right? Those streets are just simply not safe. And here's the thing about Eric Adams. He says he's going to be tough on crime.
Your number one challenge during the campaign, your number one message during the campaign was to get crime under control. That was your number one promise. 500 murders in New York City in the last year. And the challenge you faced was pretty apparent on your first day. What, you had to make a 911 call from the subway over a fight. You had to pay a visit to a police officer who was shot. That's the personal touch. But what's the plan?
Oh, we have a good plan. We have a good police commissioner. She's in now doing a real analysis to have the right balance, because the balance is not just heavy-handed policing. It's public safety and justice. What we do long-term and what we do right now. We're going to go after gangs. We're going to take down some of the large gangs in our city. Whenever you see a shooting take place, look at the next line, gang-related. We're going to zero in on gangs. We're going to reinstitute a plainclothes anti-gun unit and zero in on those guns. The other 2 days ago, we took 7 guns off the street in the Bronx with an amazing team of officers there. And so we're going to refocus on those who are carrying guns and violent crimes in our city and turn around this city. It's going to be a safe place. I say all the time, the prerequisite to prosperity is public safety and justice. My city is going to be safe.
All right, guys. So is it just me or is Eric Adams starting to sound like one of these like sleazy preachers, okay? Because he definitely seems to have a way with words, right? But I'm not sure if I necessarily trust this guy, right? I'm not sure if I trust this guy. Because even though he said he's going to be tough on crime, he's going to re-implement stop and frisk, put the plainclothes unit back on the street. He said he's going to do all that stuff. I lost faith in him, right? When he said that he was going to extend the authoritarian de Blasio mandates.
Eric Adams is not waiting to officially assume office to lay out his plan to deal with current surge in COVID cases. This morning, he announced he will be keeping the city's private sector vaccine mandate in place, but he says the focus will be on, quote, compliance, not punishment.
Also, a holdover from the de Blasio administration, the new Stay Safe, Stay Open initiative. Adams is putting his touch on the program and adding a series of new measures to confront the rise in COVID cases. Eyewitness News reporter Lauren Glassberg joins us from the newsroom with more details. Lauren.
Tony and David, a new administration taking over in the midst of a crisis can be daunting for the city. But what is clear today is that Mayor-elect Eric Adams isn't changing much in terms of how the city will continue to fight COVID. He discussed more equitable access to antivirals to fight COVID once they are available, as well as access to monoclonal antibodies, as well as increased measures at schools, all in an effort to keep the city open and New Yorkers safe.
Our focus is vaccine and testing, vaccine and testing, vaccine and testing.
Incoming Mayor Eric Adams discussing his plan for the city going forward in the face of this ongoing pandemic. He insists the city won't shut down and that he'll be adding to many of the stay safe, stay open measures put forth by the de Blasio administration, and even called on the outgoing city health commissioner to go into more detail.
The plan revolves around 6 pillars, which we will discuss in detail today. First, vaccination. Second, supporting hospitals in congregate settings. Third, testing. Fourth, treatment. Fifth, slowing the spread of the virus. And sixth, finally, safer schools.
In terms of schools, there will be more surveillance testing, millions of rapid tests sent home, and increased mitigation, meaning better masks and ventilation in schools. And in the spring, the Adams administration will decide on a vaccine mandate for the schools, which could be implemented in the fall. And as for the private sector, the vaccine mandate will continue with a focus on compliance, not punishment.
We're going to get through this, and we're going to open our city, and the city is going to thrive. New York will lead the way for this entire country to follow.
Now, Adams is now headed to Broadway for a walk through the theater district, where many shows have shut down in recent days because of the Omicron strain. His message on that walkthrough will be the city is open and safe. We'll have more on his plans for the city later today on Eyewitness News. Tony?
All right, guys. So the first thing this man did, as soon as he got in office, his first executive order was to extend the mandates, right? And at this point, I'm like, this guy basically looks like de Blasio 2.0, but a little bit tougher on crime, right? That seems to be what the guy is, okay? And they keep talking about, we want to keep New York City open. We want to keep New York City open, right? And New York City right now is basically moving at half speed. It is not necessarily open. And the reason why it's not open is because of the mandates, bro. Right? I don't understand when these Democrat politicians are going to actually get it. When it's going to click in their head. You can't be open when you have a bunch of mandates in place, because people aren't going to want to go out to eat. They aren't going to want to patronize businesses. They aren't going to want to spend money. They aren't going to want to do anything. When you fearmonger and keep people locked down, you cannot open up. Tourists aren't going to visit your city. Nobody's going to New York City. So these politicians who keep come out here talking about we need to continue the mandates, but we want to open up, they're selling a pipe dream, right? And it's funny because AOC said that DeSantis should take advice from Hochul, right? Hochul. To me, it sounds like Hochul and Eric Adams really need to be taking some advice from DeSantis. Look at Florida. Florida is open. As you saw in that video, AOC is partying and living her life in Miami, okay? There's no news reports or issues about Florida lacking business or tourism, okay? Because people are going. People are living their lives, okay? People are living their lives. But that's not the same for New York. And the difference is, it's not that people don't want to go to New York. It's not that there's not things to do in New York. It's simply that New York is effectively closed or on lockdown as long as these mandates are in place. As long as these mandates are in place, the city is effectively on lockdown. So I don't have faith in Eric Adams to change anything for New York, because it sounds to me, again, like he's de Blasio 2.0, except with stop and frisk, right? That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like to me, because he woke too, right? He woke as the rest of them. They all woke, right? And these woke politicians have been the worst thing to happen to these liberal cities. And I really don't understand how in the world do these people keep voting for this stuff. You're voting for mandates, okay, that are hindering your city, that's hindering your economy. And you're also voting for politicians like AOC that will leave you in a disaster, or what they say is a disaster, right? The way they frame it. Okay, I got to be careful because that's what they're saying. I'm just using their argument and their characterization of what's going on. But yeah, AOC left what she would describe as a crisis and to go party in Miami, the same place that she said was a death state. So, hey, at the end of the day, man, look, it ain't my state. This is who they vote for. So I guess they got to deal with it. But I don't have any faith that this is actually going to get better for New York anytime soon. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.